A woman charged with tricking 2 women into going to Thailand for illegal work appeared in court today. No plea was taken today, and the case has been adjourned until the middle of March. The defendant has been denied bail. The 32-year-old woman, who claimed to be a beautician, faces 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud. She was brought to the Shatin Magistrates Courts this morning. She allegedly conspired with unknown individuals in December last year to trick 2 women into performing illegal work in Thailand by promising them a high reward. Upon the arrival in Thailand, the pair were taken to a scam compound in Myanmar to undergo forced online scam-related training. U.S. President Joe Biden used his farewell address to warn of what he called an oligarchy of the ultra-wealthy taking root in his country. Speaking from the Oval Office as he prepares to hand over power to President-elect Donald Trump on Monday, Biden sounded the alarm over the accumulation of power and wealth among a small few.
I have no doubt that America is in a position to continue to succeed. That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous concentration, and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead.
Biden's comments on the ultra-rich come after some of the world's richest individuals and titans of its technology industry have flocked to U.S. President-elect Trump's side in the wake of his November election victory. Biden went on to express concern about the potential rise of a tech industrial complex that he said could pose real dangers to Washington. He also called for a constitutional amendment to end immunity for sitting presidents. This after the Supreme Court granted President-elect Trump sweeping protections last year from criminal liability over his role in trying to undermine his 2020 defeat to Biden. U.S. President Joe Biden's administration has added more than 24 Chinese entities to a restricted trade list. Among the newly included entities was Jipu AI, a developer of large language models. Washington asserts the company helped advance China's military modernization through advanced AI research. Another addition was SoftGo, a company which has been accused of having its TSMC-made chip illegally incorporated into a Huawei artificial intelligence processor. Companies on the list cannot receive goods or technology exports without a license, which is generally denied. Jipu said the decision lacked a factual basis. The company said its inclusion would not make a substantial impact on its business as it had mastered large language models end-to-end core technology. SoftGo earlier stated it has never been engaged in any direct or indirect business relationship with Huawei. The U.S. Commerce Department also strengthened controls on the flow of chips to China to better prevent diversion to Huawei. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is reportedly weighing on a plan that could suspend America's impending ban on TikTok, which is due to take effect on Sunday. Danny Zhou reports.
The Washington Post reported on Wednesday that Donald Trump is mulling a potential executive order that would halt the TikTok ban for 60 to 90 days after he takes office. Trump's pick for National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has confirmed that the president-elect is exploring options to preserve TikTok. During a recent interview with Fox News, Waltz defended TikTok, noting that it is a great platform used by many Americans and has played a significant role in Trump's presidential campaign. In response to TikTok's legal challenges, Waltz said he doesn't want to get ahead of the executive orders, but the new administration would strive to create the space to reach a deal to preserve the app while protecting people's data. Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments on TikTok's bid to block a law passed by the Congress last year that would lead to its nationwide ban in the U.S., or TikTok's Chinese-based parent company ByteDance to divest its popular short video app. A majority of the justices appeared inclined to uphold the law over alleged concerns about the app's ties to China. Only one of them took the view that the ban violated the right to free speech under the First Amendment. TikTok's attorney Noel Francisco told the Supreme Court, "We go dark. Essentially, the platform shuts down." The U.S. government has prodded the court to uphold the law before January the 19th, and it's still unclear when it will make a ruling. A White House official said U.S. President Joe Biden has no plans to step in to block the ban. But NBC News reported that the Biden administration is seeking ways to keep the app available to users beyond Sunday. So far, TikTok is unwilling to separate from ByteDance, and it is reportedly planning to shut down app services in the US on Sunday. Sources said the company is also considering giving users an option to download all their data. The ban could have global ripple effects, as hundreds of US service providers will be prohibited from making TikTok available to users around the world. Wedbush Securities highlighted the move risks Beijing's retaliation ahead of its incoming tariff negotiations with Washington, putting tech moguls in China like Apple and Tesla at stake. Its analysts concluded they believe a true ban on TikTok is unlikely, as there are a range of options that Trump could head on. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
South Korea's arrested President Yunsuk failed to attend a second day of questioning by investigators today. This as a criminal probe into whether he committed insurrection with his martial law bid continues. Daniel Rao tells us more.
On Wednesday, Yoon Suk-yeol became the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested and was taken to the Seoul detention center after refusing to cooperate. He remained in the center on Thursday, with his lawyer citing his health as a factor. Authorities have 48 hours to question the suspended president, after which they must release him or seek a warrant to detain him for up to 20 days. The embattled leader has up to now refused to talk with investigators who had prepared a questionnaire of more than 200 pages. His lawyers have said the arrest warrant is illegal because it was issued by a court in the wrong jurisdiction, and the team set up to investigate him had no legal mandate to do so. Yoon's refusal to cooperate with investigators comes as the South Korean Constitutional Court held a second hearing in his impeachment trial to determine whether to remove him permanently or reinstate his presidential powers. South Korea is grappling with its worst political crisis in decades, sparked by Yoon's brief attempt to impose martial law on December 3rd that was voted down by Parliament. In opening arguments at the Constitutional Court, an opposition Democratic Party lawmaker condemned Yoon for the insurrection. The lawmaker said Yoon and a small number of supporters had sought to stoke chaos by refusing to accept his arrest warrant. In response, Yoon's defense team said his impeachment was not intended to defend the Constitution, but for the opposition to use the majority power of Parliament to usurp the position of the president. Yoon's lawyer Cho Dae-hyun said the suspended president's decision to declare martial law had been made in good faith, based on his view that the country was in a state of emergency. Daniel, TV News.
Welcome back. Sources from Bloomberg noted the government is considering raising taxes on the city's top earners for the second consecutive year. Measures aimed at increasing taxes for high earners were already included in the previous budget, with salaries tax now following a two-tiered standard rate system. Currently, unmarried individuals with an annual salary of over $2.02 million qualify for the standard tax rate. The standard tax rate for those with an annual salary of $2.02 million to $5 million is 15%. For those with an annual salary of over $5 million, the standard rate for any in excess of the $5 million mark was raised to 16%. Sources said authorities are considering whether to further raise that tax rate or lower the $5 million threshold. However, the city's Taxation Institute reportedly believes the measure will not do much to boost the government's coffers. The Kowloon Sports Park's main stadium will host a charity concert on Saturday. This will be the first non-sport trial event to test out the park's operations. About 18,000 spectators are expected to show up for the event. The concert will start at 6 p.m. on Saturday, but spectators can enter the venue starting from 4 p.m. Among the 18,000 concert viewers, 4,000 will take part in activities in the lawn of the main arena, also for testing out the operation. MTRN bus services will be increased that evening to cope with a large number of people leaving the area. The Airport Authority today announced a development blueprint that aims to turn Hong Kong International Airport into a world-class landmark. The entire project will cost about $100 billion. The landmark will be located in the sea between Chep Lap Kok, the artificial island where the Hong Kong port of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge is located, and Tung Chung North. Under the name Skytopia, the project will include developments such as a bay for yachts and a fresh food market.
We expect to cost around 100 billion. And then out of which about 30 billion will be on infrastructure costs, and that would be borne by the Airport Authority. And that for this 30 billion infrastructure costs, we would fund it with our internal resources. For the other initiatives, we will work with the private sector accordingly.
The Hong Kong Trade Development Council's 34th Education and Careers Expo opened at the Convention and Exhibition Center today. The four-day event features more than 820 exhibitors from 22 countries and regions. Mimo Singhai reports.
Visitors to the four-day event can find more than 4,000 job options, according to the organizer, the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. Among the exhibitors in the career section, 16 are government departments, including the Fire Services Department, the Immigration Department, and the Correctional Services Department. Some exhibitors, such as the police force, provide on-site interview opportunities.
In these 4 days, we set up on-site group interview for the police constable. So only the successful attempts will be counted, and the result will be valid for 3 months. And then they can proceed the other selection criteria, like the final interview and also physical fitness test, etc.
In the fair's education section, exhibitors include local universities and language consultation services. Some students found the event helpful. It is useful for me coming to the expo because I can receive career information from different parts of the world, said this Form 6 student. The expo opens to the public free of charge between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the first 3 days, and it will close at 6 p.m. on the final day. Memos 9, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.